Then Diana's coffin went on its long journey, taking her home to Althorpe. The most modern of women, on a progress across Britain with almost medieval overtones. Flowers strew her way. David Loyne, BBC News.
Walked to the Abbey behind her coffin, flanked by his two nephews, Princes Harry and William, the Duke of Edinburgh and Prince Charles. But he used the platform of his address to the mourners in the Abbey throughout Britain and across the world, not merely to celebrate his sister's remarkable achievements, but also to refer pointedly to her frustrations with royal life.
Diana was the very essence of compassion, of duty, of style, of beauty. All over the world, she was a symbol of selfless humanity, a standard-bearer for the rights of the truly downtrodden, a very British girl who transcended nationality, someone with a natural nobility who was classless, and who proved in the last year that she needed no royal title to continue to generate her particular brand of magic.
He spoke of her as a very insecure person whose eating disorders were a symptom of vulnerability, the most bizarre life imaginable, he called it, which led her to consider exile from Britain.
There is no doubt that she was looking for a new direction in her life at this time. She talked endlessly of getting away from England, mainly because of the treatment that she received at the hands of the newspapers. I don't think she ever understood why her genuinely good intentions were sneered at by the media, why there appeared to be a permanent quest on their behalf to bring her down. It is baffling. My own and only explanation is that genuine goodness is threatening to those at the opposite end of the moral spectrum.
Then, standing not far from the royal family and with hundreds of millions of viewers watching in central London and on worldwide television, Earl Spencer directly raised the unhappiness at the core of her life, promising the young princes would not be suffocated by the strains of royal duty.
She would want us today to pledge ourselves to protecting her beloved boys, William and Harry, from a similar fate. And I do this here, Diana, on your behalf. We will not allow them to suffer the anguish that used regularly to drive you to tearful despair. And beyond that, on behalf of your mother and sisters, I pledge that we, your blood family, will do all we can to continue the imaginative and loving way in which you are steering these two exceptional young men, so that their souls are not simply immersed by duty and tradition, but can sing openly as you planned. We fully respect the heritage into which they have both been born, and will always respect and encourage them in their royal role. But we, like you, recognize the need for them to experience as many different aspects of life as possible, to arm them spiritually and emotionally for the years ahead.
In a week when protocol has repeatedly been shredded, Earl Spencer's remarks produce thunderous applause at a funeral. And their implications will echo beyond these walls, this ceremony and the crowds of mourners into the future of the monarchy itself. Gavin Esler, BBC News.
As dawn roused slumbering mourners at Kensington Palace, the crowds here knew that what they were about to witness would be painful. But in the respectful silence of their anticipation, there was unity, a sense that they had to be here. Behind Diana's former home, the gun carriage that would convey her coffin before the eyes of millions around the world was being readied. The horses to draw her at rest before performing their solemn duty. And when Diana began her journey to her final resting place, the cortege moving through the people, for some it was overwhelming.
It was beautiful though, elegant. It was, I kept thinking I knew that I knew it had happened, but I realized I still was in shock until I saw it.
It was a very sad occasion. I don't think this country is going to see anything this sad for a long time.
Can you describe your emotions as she went by?
Not really. I can't.
To pay their respects, to mark Diana's passing, to simply say goodbye to their princess. That's why everyone here came onto the streets in such numbers. Witnessing the cortege was, for many, the culmination of the week's profound emotions.
Goodbye, Rose. May you well grow in our hearts.
And for the thousands watching the service on huge video screens at Hyde Park, the involvement was total. This was the tribute so many wanted for Diana, the woman whose radiance touched people across the world, her life being celebrated in the sunshine of a late summer's day. Clarence Mitchell, BBC News.
From a helicopter as it goes on, a few people on the side of the road who live locally, no doubt, have found their way there, or who are driving in cars, the cars on the southbound carriageway having been stopped. People are parking their cars on the side and going across the motorway to watch the hearse go past. So all the way, even on these bleakest of motorway roads, people have found a way of coming and standing to watch as the hearse goes past. It goes alone because the members of the Spencer family and those members of the royal family who are travelling up to Northampton are going by a royal train, which will be arriving later on, and then they'll be taken separately to Althorpe House. And through the cornfields of late summer, this hearse bearing the body of the princess carries on its slow, steady journey northwards.
Buckingham Palace is the place which so often has witnessed royal celebrations of thousands of people here gathered normally on a very happy occasion. And today has been so very different, but yet with huge numbers. And thousands streamed in here and early this morning, and there was an immense crowd gathered. And it was very intense and very focused, and that could be seen on the first reaction there was when the Union flag was flown at half-mast from the Buckingham Palace flagpole this morning. There was an enormous, sudden, instantaneous applause from the crowd. It was a genuine sign of satisfaction that something that had been asked for had actually happened, as a very visible sign of public mourning. And then later, when the Queen led virtually all the royal family out from a side gate of Buckingham Palace, there was this very curious sight of thousands of people lining one side of the street, and the royal family, as it were, lining the other side. Again, there was a